Have you ever had a dream that you had?
Welcome to Stronger Than the Rest, hosted by your bearded brother, Juan R. The podcast where we celebrate resilience, determination, and the human spirit. Each episode, we dive into inspiring stories of individuals who have overcome challenges and emerged stronger than ever. Join us on this journey of empowerment and motivation as we discover what it truly means to be stronger than the rest. Let's start this episode with a bang.
Welcome back, everybody, to our new podcast, Stronger Than the Rest. I am your host, the bearded brother, your boy, Juan R. Man, let me tell you, I am super, super excited about this podcast today. We are addressing the question of what is an overcomer? And huge topic. I received a lot of responses in regards to episode 1. Everybody wanted to know what is an overcomer. So today, that's what we're going to talk about, what an overcomer is. I have to tell you, I still feel like an overcomer today, man. We had some challenges on episode 1. It was raw, uncut. Reality is I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it. And so episode 1 had a fail, and I tell you, we didn't record the audio with the video synced together, right? We recorded the video separate, we recorded the audio separate, and we had to sync it together. So on episode 1, it may seem a little bit off, but hey, we're going to make it through. We're going to continue to overcome, and we're going to get this done. So the big question of the day, what is an overcomer? And so, I dig a little deep. I dig a little deeper into these topics, and I dug into this one, and I'll tell you what I found. Right, what I found is that an overcomer is a person who prevails or succeeds in dealing with or gaining control of some problem, some difficulty, some opposition, or some conflict. Right, that is the definition, or our definition, that we're going to use as what is an overcomer, right? And then we're going to talk about the concept of overcoming today, right? We're also going to talk about examples of individuals that I know that have been overcomers. Some of the information we're going to give is redacted. We're not going to give names today. We're not going to give time frames or years. But we're going to talk about a couple different examples of individuals that I know that have overcome in their life different challenges. One of them is legal. The other one is physical. And then we have another one that is emotional. And so we're going to talk about those today, y'all. So let's get going. The concept of overcoming, right? Here's the thing. Quite often, to be an overcomer, you have to be tired of being tired, right? This is the point that most people get to when they either decide to overcome or they decide to give up. Right? Now, there's been many situations in my life where I've just given up. But there's also been many a situation where I almost gave up, but decided to keep on going. Right? Because here's the thing. Sometimes you don't understand the storm that you're going through until you see the growth that the storm created. Right? Most people don't realize that when that rain hits the ground, right, it's feeding nutrients and provides growth to flowers, to trees, to grass, right? And you don't know why you're going through the storm. You don't know what you're dealing with. You don't know what's going on. But there's growth that comes from that. And I know it's a challenge getting through things, but you can't give up, right? You have to hold your head up. You have to keep going. Somehow you have to find a way to continue to make it through, to push through it. And that's the only way that you're really going to get through it. I've had situations in my life where, I've just thrown my hands up. Some of them I regret. Some of them I don't regret. But here's the thing. You always have to weigh your options, right? You have to weigh your benefits from your losses, right? And on some of those situations, I saw that the losses were greater than the benefit of continuing to go on. And that's okay, right? There's going to be situations that happen where you say, I've lost enough, right? And I wouldn't even necessarily calling that giving up, but you weigh your options, you determine where it is that you're at, and you're determining whether or not you want to lose any additional, whatever it is, in regards to that situation or problem, right? And most people get to that point when things begin to fall apart. But here's the other key concept that you have to understand, is that sometimes things have to fall apart so that you can see how things are supposed to be put together, right? I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, for Christmas or birthday sometimes, I would get these puzzles, man. And sometimes they were big puzzles and sometimes they were small puzzles, right? I remember the 50-piece puzzles, the 150-piece puzzles, and then the 500-piece puzzles, right, with the really small parts. And it was difficult to look at a pile of 500 pieces and to determine how it went together, right? I remember seeing one of those 500-piece puzzles being put together, right? And when they finished, everything fit together like it was supposed to. But in the beginning, as you're going through these troubles and these problems, right, and it's just a pile of pieces, you don't understand how everything is going to go together. And so as you begin to build this puzzle, you find pieces and you think you know where it's supposed to go, right? It looks like it'll fit. It looks like it'll go there. But when you put it there, it's not the right part. And so you have to take, several pieces apart to make the picture fit. And so that same thing happens in life, man. Like when you begin to build things up, sometimes you'll put a piece in a place that it doesn't go to, right? Sometimes you'll put a piece in a place where you think it's supposed to fit, and, that one part of it fits, but there's another part of it that it just doesn't quite look right. It just doesn't quite fit right. And so it's okay to take that piece back out. It's okay for sometimes things to fall apart so you can realize and understand how things are really supposed to go together. That happens quite often in relational challenges, where, you think you found the right person, you think that this person fits in your life, and then you realize that there's a small piece that doesn't really go, right? There's a piece of this relationship that you thought would work, but it doesn't really work, And what it does is it causes holes and gaps, right? And in those crevices is where the separation begins. And so, sometimes it takes that falling apart in order to figure out that there's another piece that fits more perfectly in that position, right? And so it's okay for that to happen, right? That doesn't mean you're not an overcomer, It means that you not only use your head and your heart to make decisions in regards to what's best for you in life, right? And that's what we all want to do. We want to make the best decisions in life, right? The other thing is we have to understand that, and I'm going to go back a little bit, right? So we have to look at the fact that there's a thing that said only the strong survive, right? There's an old term that says only the strong survive. And you guys have to forgive me. Like, I'm not a professional speaker. I'm not, as eloquent as some other people. But this what I'm telling you is coming straight from the heart. So I hope it reaches the heart as well, right? And so there's an old proverb that says only the strong will survive, right? I believe, and I agree with that in a sense, right? But here's the thing. When you're striving to survive, there's things that you can do to build yourself up, to strengthen yourself, to make yourself stronger. And we have to realize that sometimes in those challenges, the very thing that's tearing you up is the very thing that will build you up as well, right? I look at these bodybuilders today on TV, man. You got some huge guys out there. They're lifting weights and, they're taking whatever supplements, and they get huge, and you wonder how that happens, right? And so when I worked out, and no, I don't work out right now. I probably need to get back to that to get a bit more healthy and get better in shape. But here's the thing. As you're lifting weights, what happens to your muscles is they begin to separate and tear, right? And in that separation and tear, that's where you get that ache and the pain. You ever worked out and you got, the day after or, even hours after sometimes, you're like hurting and, you feel this pain, right? I don't even know a better way to explain it. You're sore, right? You're tender. Well, that's because the muscles that you use to lift those weights have been torn apart, right? And you think it's a bad thing. But as they begin to repair themselves and they get big and they get larger, you realize that that thing that tore them up is the very thing that built them up, right? And it's the same in life. These situations that we face and that we see and that we deal with are the very things that build the character within us so that we can be overcomers, right? That very thing that is tearing you up, tearing you to pieces, almost shredding you, is the same tool that can be used to build you up. Now, you ask me, how do I know that? Well, I've been through it. I mean, that's the realistic thing. I've been through it, right? I've been through relationships and situations that, had me at a point to where I was at the end of my rope, right? And I'm not just at the end of my rope, but I'm at the end of my strength and holding on to that rope, right? And there's something within me. I don't know if you want to call it tenacity. I don't know if you want to call it something else. I call it the love of God. But there's something that's in you that will cause you to grab on and hold on tighter, right? And as you begin to heal and as you begin to grow, right, you see the strength that was built up. And it makes you hold on tighter, right? And that way you can keep going. I said it in our last episode, and I'll say it again in this episode, and I'll probably say it in every episode, right? The only way to guarantee that you don't succeed is if you give up. That's it. The only way you won't reach your goal is if you give up. Most people will tell you, well, it seems like every time I take one step forward, I take two steps back. That's going to happen. That's going to happen. But here's the thing. Sometimes you take 3 steps forward, right? Sometimes you take 4 or 5 steps forward. Sometimes you take 1 step forward, right? And yeah, there's going to be times when you take a step back, right? But you have to keep going. You have to keep your shoulders square. You have to keep your head raised so that you can actually reach that goal, right? We have to understand that as we go on through these challenges and as we go on through these struggles, it's people will tell me, let me say this. People will tell me that this is not the case, right? But this is what I believe. This is my perspective of what's going on, right? The enemy doesn't want you for your today. The enemy wants you for your tomorrow, right? These challenges and struggles that we face, yeah, they're decisions, a lot of them come from decisions that we make, but a lot of it is spiritual warfare from the enemy. And the enemy sees where it is that you're going to go, right? The enemy can see your trajectory. And what happens is the enemy knows if they can throw you off just a little bit, that as time goes on, you'll miss that point, right? And so the thing is this, you have to keep going. You have to gird up. You have to fight in order to make it to that goal, right? So the other thing I want to talk about today, real quick, are people that I know, that I've seen, that have faced challenges and struggles and have made it through, right? Today we're going to talk about some of my family. I have a cousin, younger cousin, and I'll tell you, me and her have been thick as thieves since we were young, very young. Even in our high school days, we used to hang out. I would get all my friends together and she'd get all her friends together, and we'd go to these school dances, man, and we would have a ball. But even before that, this is who I used to choose to play with on the weekends when our families would get together. And so early on in life, I think she was, right after high school, she went to college. But I think it was in college where she lost her mother to breast cancer. And, for most people, that would be a very devastating situation. And I believe today still that for her, it was a very devastating situation. But as a young child, right, she was still a child, right? She hasn't graduated college yet. But as a child, she was able to take that situation and turn it into strength in order for her to move forward, right? Unbelievable. I was amazed when I saw it happening, and I'm still amazed today. Such an amazing person, wonderful person. Shout out, cuz you know who you are. But she actually took that situation and turned it into strength, used it to propel herself to new heights, right? Move forward a couple of years, still a young lady, and then she loses her father. Right? Now she's in a world seemingly by herself. She has no parents to guide her. And again, she takes this situation that, again, would be devastating to most, and she turns it into strength. Right? Few years later, now she loses her brother. Right? I don't know if I would have been able to handle it. But she took it, again, she turned it into a propulsion of strength. And now she's reached her doctorate level in education. Very prominent administrator in a school district in Illinois, and is doing super, super well. I'm super proud of her. This is my, we like to say favorite cousins, but she's more like a sister than a cousin to me, right? And we've been close throughout the years. But I'm super proud of her because she is the true example of what an overcomer is, right? She's taken situations that were meant to destroy her or to hold her back, and she used them as fuel, as propulsion, to excel in life, right? That's what an overcomer is. I have another example. My youngest brother, younger brother. I don't know if I want to call him a big brother, because I think he actually is a little bit smaller than me now. But early in life, he made some decisions that weren't the best. And he had to face the consequences of those situations. But today, when you see him, you don't see any part of that, right? He's actually raised children that play in professional sports right now, right? he took those situations that he dealt with from the decisions that he's made, and he's taken those and used them as fuel to, again, propel himself to newer heights. Not only does he have, a child that plays in the professional sports leagues, but he's taken that and he's used it to become a very prominent figure in the culinary world. And so, again, another example of an individual who has found a way to overcome situations and challenges, right? And don't get me wrong, they're not over, right? Each one of those individuals, my cousin and my younger brother, are still facing challenges today. And the fact is, they continue to overcome every single day. I was just talking to my cousin, here it is maybe a month ago, maybe a little bit more. And in one of her rental properties, she had a fire. And I tell you, the way she handled it was amazing. She found a way to take it and turn around and use it in a positive manner, right? That's what overcomers do, right? They don't give up. They take it, whatever the situation is, and they use it to overcome the challenge or the situation, and they actually take control of it, right? Whatever it is. And then the final example I want to give you is another guy. I've known this guy all my life. And we haven't always had the best relationship. We bumped heads. It seems as though he and I are polar opposites, right? Although we were raised in the same house. I'm talking about my older brother. And, he does things one way and I typically do things a different way. But I look at him today and I have to tell you, man, I'm like super proud of this guy. So I'll tell you, he's had health challenges in his life. And just not long ago, he actually had to have a portion of his leg amputated. And for most people, that would be it. To have a limb amputated, to have a part of your body actually cut off, taken off. To some people, that's a destroyer. But for this guy, man, I tell you, I've never seen a more active or motivated amputee, right? Let me tell you, it wasn't until he had a portion of his leg amputated that he actually entered his first 5K, right? How do you have an amputee doing a 5K, right? But he was able to take that and use it again as fuel, as a propulsion to take himself to newer heights. And it's real funny because, as back and forth as we go, I was talking to him when I decided to do this podcast. And one of the things that he said to me was, I always knew that you would do something. I just didn't know what it was. He says, I always knew that you would do something that would take you to another level. And this is it, man. He goes, congratulations, I'm proud of you. And I didn't expect it. Again, because we don't always see eye to eye. But definitely proud of this dude. Shout out to you, bro. Man, love you. Even my little bro, love you too. My cousin, I love you. You guys are all prime examples of what overcomers are. And I'm proud to call you guys my family. All right, so I'm not going to cry. I do get emotional talking about them, though, because I love my family. And I've seen so many members of my family overcome challenges and situations. And again, another reason why I want to do this podcast, man, because it seems like my family has really risen to occasion so many times and so often in regards to having to overcome challenges and situations, and the grace and the poise that they present when they do it is just phenomenal to me. Like I'm each time I see it, I'm stunned and I'm surprised, but I see it often and I see it regular, and it's real cool. It's real cool for me to be able to see that. And so again, I love you guys. Let me tell you what's coming next. So episode 3, I'll tell you guys, I'm hoping to have a co-host in with us. I've actually spoken to a couple of people. I put posts out saying, hey, I'm looking for a co-host. I think it'd be something that would be great, that would open up new markets in regards to the podcast. And I've had an overwhelming response. Like, I can't tell you how many emails I've received in regards to people wanting to come on and be co-host, right? And so I think in episode 3, we're actually going to have a co-host. I've got a couple people in mind. I'm hoping they'll agree to come on and do it. We're also looking at inviting several guests. Lots of friends that I have that have truly become overcomers. Some individuals that I've ran across in my new area of the DFW Metroplex that, are prime examples of how people can overcome. So I'm really looking forward to episode 3. I appreciate you guys listening. Thank you for checking out episode 2. And again, believe me, I'm flying by the seat of my pants. We're doing this as it goes. I'm learning as it goes. And I hope that you guys will stick around and grow with us here at Stronger Than the Rest. Please don't forget to check us out. We're on Facebook, Stronger Than the Rest. We're also on TikTok, Stronger Than the Rest. Please look for the shorts. And you can catch us on our website at www.strongerthantherest.com. If you guys could please subscribe, go ahead and reach out to us. If you reach out to us, we'll reach out back to you. Thanks for listening. You guys have a great day. Goodbye.
Thanks for checking out this episode of Stronger Than the Rest with your bearded host, Juan R. Please be sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so that you never miss an episode.